As I was leaving the hotel this morning, the doorman asked me, "Where are you bound for, General?" As I replied, "West Point," he remarked, "Beautiful place. Have you ever been there before?" Duty, honor, country. Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, and what you will be. They are your rallying points, to build courage when courage seems to fail, to regain faith when there seems to be little cause for faith, to create hope when hope becomes forlorn. Unhappily, I possess neither the eloquence of diction, that poetry of imagination, nor that brilliance of metaphor to tell you what they mean. The unbelievers will say they are but words, but a slogan, but a flamboyant phrase. Every pedant, every demagogue, every cynic, every hypocrite, every troublemaker, and I am sorry to say, some others of an entirely different character will try to downgrade them, even to the extent of mockery and ridicule. But these are some of the things they do. They build your character. They mold you for your future roles as custodians of the nation's defense. They make you strong enough to know when you are weak, brave enough to face yourself when you are afraid. They teach you to be proud and unbending in honest failure, but humble and gentle in success. Not to substitute words for actions, not to seek the path of comfort, but to face the stress and spur of difficulty and challenge. To learn to stand up in the storm, but to have compassion for those who fall. To master yourself before you seek to master others. To have a heart that is clean, a goal that is high, to learn to laugh, yet never forget how to weep, to reach the future yet never neglect the past, to be serious yet never take yourself too seriously, to be modest so that you will remember the simplicity of true greatness, the open mind of true wisdom, the meekness of true strength. They give you the temper of the will, the quality of the imagination, the vigor of emotions, the freshness of the deep springs of life, a temporal predominance over the courage of intimity, an appetite for the adventure over love of ease. They create in your heart a sense of wonder, the unfalling hope of what next, the joy and inspiration of life. They teach you in this way to be an officer and a gentleman. What sort of soldiers are you to lead? Are they reliable? Are they brave? Are they capable of victory? Their story is known to all of you. It is the story of the American man-at-arms. My estimate of him was formed on the battlefield many, many years ago, and has never changed. I regarded him as I regard him now, as one of the world's noblest figures, as only one of the finest military characters, but also as one of the most stainless. His name and fame are the birthright of every American citizen. In his youth and strength, his love and loyalty, he gave all of that mortality can give. He needs no eulogy from me, nor from any other man. He has written his history and written it in red on his enemy's breast. But when I think of his patience under adversity, of his courage under fire, and of his modesty in victory, I am filled with an emotion of admiration that I cannot put into words. He belongs to history as furnishings of one of the greatest examples of successful patriotism. He belongs to posterity as the instructor of future generations in principles of liberty and of freedom. He belongs to the present, to us, by his virtues and his achievements. In 20 campaigns, on 100 battlefields, around 1,000 campfires, I have witnessed that enduring fortitude, that patriotic self-abnegation, that invincible determination which have carved his statue in the hearts of his people. From one end of the world to the other, he has drained deep the chalice of courage. As I listened to those songs of the Glee Club, in memory's eyes I could see those staggering columns of the First World War, bending under soggy packs on many weary march march from dripping dusk to drizzling dawn, slogging ankle-deep through the mire of shell-shocked roads, to form grimly for the attack, blue-lipped, covered with sludge and mud, chilled by the wind and rain, driving home their objective, and for many to the judgment seat of God. I do not know the dignity of their birth, but I do know the glory of their death. They died unquestioningly, uncomplainingly, with faith in their hearts and on their lips, the hope that we would go on to victory. Always for them, duty, honor, country. Always their blood, sweat, and tears as we sought a way in the light and the truth. And 20 years after, on the other side of the globe, again the filth of murky foxholes, the stench of ghostly trenches, the slime of dripping dugouts, those boiling suns of relentless heat, those torrential rains of devastating storms, the loneliness and utter desolation of jungle trails, the bitterness of long separation from those they loved and cherished, the deadly pestilence of tropical disease and the horror-stricken areas of wars, their resolute, determined defense, their swift, sure attack, their indomitable purpose, their complete, decisive victory. Always victory. Always through the bloody haze of their last reverberating shot, a vision of gaunt, ghastly men reverently following your password of duty, honor, country. The code with which those words perpetuate embraces the highest moral laws and will stand the test of any ethics or philosophies ever promulgated for the uplift of mankind. Its requirements are for the things that are right and the restraints that are wrong. The soldier above all men is required to practice the greatest acts of religious training, sacrifice. In battle and in the face of danger and death, he discloses those divine attributes which his Maker gave when he created man in his own image. No physical courage and no brute instinct can take the place of the divine help which alone can sustain him. However the incidents of war may be, the soldier who is called upon to offer and to give his life for his country is the noblest development of mankind. You now face the new world, a world of change. The thrust into outer space of the satellite spheres and missiles mark the beginning of another epoch, of another long story of mankind. And through all of this, the welter of change and development, your mission remains fixed, determined, inviolable. It is to win our wars. Anything else in your professional career is but corollary to this vital dedication. Others will debate controversial issues, national and international, which divide men's minds, but serene, calm, aloof, as you stand, the nation's guardian, as its life in the raging tides of international conflict, as the gladiator in the arena of battle. For a century and a half you have defended, guarded, and protected its hallowed traditions of liberty, freedom, of right and justice. Let the civilians' voices argue the merits or demerits of our process of government, whether our strength is being sapped by deficit financing, indulged in too long by the federal paternalism, grown too mighty by power groups, grown too arrogant. You are the leaven which binds together the entire fabric of our national system of defense. From your ranks come the great captains who hold the nation's destiny in their hands from the moment the war tocsin sounds. The long gray line has never failed us. Were you to do so, a million ghosts in olive drab and brown khaki, in blue and gray, would rise from their white crosses, thundering those magic words, duty, honor, country. It does not mean that you're warmonglers. On the contrary, the soldier above all people prays for peace, for he must suffer the deepest wounds and scars of war. The shadows are lengthening for me. The twilight is here. My days of old have vanished, tone and tent. They have gone glimmering through the dreams of that which were, their memories of wondrous beauty. But in the evening, in my memory, I will always come back to West Point. Always there, echoes and re-echoes. Duty, honor, country. Today marks my final call with you, but I want you to know that when I cross the river my last conscious thoughts will be the Corps, and the Corps, and the Corps. I bid you farewell.